That morning, my daughter didn't smile, but not today. She was already awake, lying perfectly still, her blanket pulled up to her chin. Her eyes were open, yet distant, as if she was looking at something behind me, something only she could see. "Good morning, sweetheart," I whispered. She didn't answer. At first I thought she was just tired. She'd had a sleepover at her best friend Emma's house the night before, something she'd been looking forward to all week. I remember packing her little overnight bag, pajamas, her toothbrush, that old stuffed rabbit she couldn't sleep without. She was so excited she could barely zip the bag shut. But now, the rabbit wasn't with her. It always sat on her pillow, waiting. Today, it was gone. "Where's Mr. Bunn?" I asked. She blinked, hesitated. "I don't want him any more." That stopped me cold. Later, I found it buried deep in the trash, not tossed, hidden. Kids grow out of toys, I told myself. But her voice hadn't sounded like a choice. It sounded like an order. At breakfast, she just stared at her cereal. "It was fine," she said when I asked about the sleepover. "Flat, empty." Then came the text. "Thanks for letting Lily stay." Our older daughter watched them. They had a blast. Her older daughter, 17, quiet, always on her phone. By afternoon, Lily wouldn't leave my side. That night, she refused her room, trembling at every sound, clutching my sleeve like something would take her if she let go. The next day, she wouldn't talk, wouldn't eat, wouldn't play. At school, her teacher said she was silent all day. That evening, I found Mr. Bunn in the trash, and under it, a drawing. 2 stick figures, one smaller, crying, the other taller, faceless. Later, in the dark, Lily whispered before sleep. She told me to keep a secret. She said secrets make you special, and as she drifted off, I realized something happened after the sleepover. The next morning, Lily sat on the floor in her pajamas, hugging her knees. When I handed her favorite blue sweater, she shook her head. "I don't like blue anymore." "Since when?" I asked. "Since Friday," she whispered, "the night of the sleepover." At school, she clung to me. "Don't go," she said, gripping my sleeve until her knuckles turned white. Through the classroom window, I watched her sit alone while other kids laughed. Her shoulders were rigid, her smile gone. Later, Emma's mom sounded cheerful on the phone. "Oh, they had fun." My oldest stayed up with them. She's such a good helper. Her older daughter. Something about the way she said "for a bit" made my stomach twist. That night, Lily wouldn't bathe alone. She said the water was too loud. When I asked if something scared her, she froze, then whispered, "No." It was fine, but her hands shook under the water. Over the weekend, nothing felt normal. She didn't laugh. She flinched at sounds, zoned out mid-sentence, pulled back when I brushed her hair. Sunday night, she drew again, 3 stick figures, one small, one with long hair, one in between. At the bottom, "Don't tell anyone." I asked softly, "What's this, honey?" "Just a drawing," she said flatly. That night I sat in her room, staring at the toys, the shadows, the silence. How do you prove a feeling? How do you explain a fear you can't name? I whispered. "I'll find out." The next morning she sat at the table, holding her cup of milk with both hands. "Mommy," she whispered, "if you tell a secret, bad things happen." My chest tightened. "Who told you that?" She looked down. "Emma's sister." The cup trembled. A drop of milk slid down the table, slow and white. And I knew something dark came home with her that night. By Monday morning I couldn't stand the silence anymore. Every corner of the house carried it, that thick, uneasy stillness that follows after something you can't name. Lily moved through her routine like a ghost. She brushed her teeth without humming, tied her shoes without asking for help. It wasn't the behavior of a sulking child. It was something colder, like she'd learned to disappear even when she was standing right in front of me. After school drop-off, I drove past the turn to work and kept going. The air outside was heavy with early autumn fog, the kind that blurs the world until everything feels half real. I didn't plan where I was going, but I ended up in front of Emma's house. It looked ordinary. A small two-story home with a swing set in the yard, a pumpkin on the porch, chalk drawings still faintly visible on the driveway. I sat there, engine idling, heart pounding. Part of me wanted to get out, knock on the door, ask, "What exactly? Did your daughter's sister tell my child that secrets hurt? Did something happen that night when no one was watching?" I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened. Then Emma's mom appeared at the window, waving cheerfully, holding a coffee mug. I waved back, forced. A moment later, she came outside. "Hey, you're up early," she called. "Lily forget something?" I smiled, pretending I had, because the truth was too heavy for small talk. "Yeah, I just wanted to check if she left her sweater here," I said. "Oh, sure." "Let me ask my girls," she replied, disappearing inside. While she was gone, I glanced around the yard. On the porch chair lay a folded blanket, pink, soft, cartoon unicorns printed across it. It looked just like Lily's, but when I reached to touch it, I noticed a faint mark near the edge, a brownish smudge, maybe chocolate, maybe dirt. My fingers hovered just above it before I heard footsteps returning. "No sweater," Emma's mom said brightly, "but I'll let you know if it turns up." "Thanks," I managed, smiling too hard. Her oldest daughter appeared behind her, taller, maybe 16, long hair tied up, wearing an oversized hoodie. She looked at me just a moment too long, not rude, not curious, just long enough for discomfort to bloom in my chest. I said goodbye and left. But the image of that quiet stare followed me all the way home. That night, Lily refused to sleep in her own bed again. She crawled into mine, small and trembling. Her feet were cold, her breath shallow. I held her close, trying to steady both of us. When she finally drifted off, I whispered into the dark, "What happened to you, baby?" The only answer was the hum of the refrigerator down the hall, constant, low, unbothered. The next morning I met her teacher at drop-off. "Is everything okay at home?" she asked gently. "I've noticed Lily's been quiet lately. She used to love participating, but now she avoids the group." I swallowed hard. "She's just tired, I think." The teacher nodded slowly, but didn't look convinced. Before I left, she said something that made my heart sink even deeper. She asked me today if secrets can make people sick. I froze. "What did you tell her?" I said some secrets do, the kind you keep because they hurt too much to say out loud. Her words echoed in my mind all day. That evening, while Lily was coloring, I sat beside her. She was quiet again, focused on her drawing. It was another picture, this time of a house, small and square, with 2 windows. One window was colored black. "What's this one?" I asked softly. "That's where we slept," she said, not looking up. Her crayon pressed too hard. The paper started to tear. "Who's we, sweetheart?" She didn't answer. She just tore the page out, folded it twice, and said, "Can we not talk about it?" I nodded, throat tight. "Of course, honey." She smiled faintly, but it didn't reach her eyes. Then she said something that chilled me more than anything before. She told me everyone keeps secrets, even moms. Later that night, when she was asleep, I stood outside her door listening to her breathing. Every soft exhale felt like proof that she was still here, still mine, still safe. but the word safe didn't mean what it used to. I poured myself a glass of wine, sat on the couch, and scrolled through my phone mindlessly, until I found myself on Emma's mom's social media page. There it was, a photo from the sleepover. 3 little girls in pajamas, smiling at the camera. Behind them, in the doorway, stood the older sister. Her smile looked polite, but her eyes weren't smiling. Something about that photo made my chest tighten. I zoomed in, though I didn't know why. The girl's hand rested lightly on Lily's shoulder. Just a touch, but even through the screen, it looked wrong. Too possessive, too familiar. I closed my phone, heart racing. Outside, rain started tapping against the window again. Soft, rhythmic, like the night it all began. I wanted to wake Lily and ask everything, but I couldn't. Not yet, because sometimes a question can break more than silence. So I sat there in the dark, clutching my phone, whispering to myself the same promise as before. I'll find out what happened. Only this time, I wasn't sure I was ready for the answer. Morning light spilled into our kitchen, pale and cold. Emma sat at the table, her cereal soggy, untouched. She wasn't crying. She wasn't even frowning. She was blank. A quiet that didn't belong to a child. I told her we'd go to the park. She didn't move. I told her Grandma was calling. Nothing. Only when I said, "Sweetheart, talk to me," did her eyes lift. Those eyes used to sparkle like tiny mirrors of the sun. Now they looked like glass, reflective, but empty. That night, when I tucked her into bed, she whispered, almost mechanically, "Mommy, can you turn off the light?" I did. I stood by the door for a while, watching the outline of her small frame beneath the blanket. Then I heard her hum, the same tune she used to hum when playing with her dolls. But it sounded different now, lower, slower, like a lullaby that had lost its warmth. The following day, I went to the family who'd hosted the sleepover. The older sister answered the door, 17, maybe 18. Polite smile, but her eyes darted too quickly. I asked, "Was everything okay that night?" She hesitated. "Yeah, of course. They just watched a movie and fell asleep." But her voice trembled, the kind of tremble you only notice when your instincts are screaming. When I got home, Emma was sitting by the window. Her teddy bear lay face down beside her. I asked if she wanted to bake cookies, her favorite thing. She said softly, "No, I don't want to play pretend anymore." That night, while folding laundry, I found something. Emma's pajama top, torn at the sleeve, a stain on the collar that hadn't been there before. My heart slowed. The sound of the washing machine in the next room felt deafening. I went to her room. She was awake, staring at the ceiling. I sat on the edge of her bed. "Emma," I whispered, "honey, what happened that night?" She didn't answer, not right away. Her lips trembled as if fighting something invisible. Then she turned toward me, eyes wide, voice trembling, barely a breath. "Mommy, she told me we have to keep secrets, that good girls don't tell." The air vanished from the room. My hands froze. The hum of the night outside turned into a ringing in my ears. I pulled her close, her small frame stiff, cold, fragile. And in that silence, I realized some secrets don't fade with time. They crawl into the corners of childhood and stay there, whispering. The next morning, Emma wouldn't look at her dolls. She lined them up by the window and whispered, "They know now." And I've never been able to unhear that sentence, because after that sleepover, something in my little girl never truly came home.